Okay, so you know that thing that happens when you set a new goal and at first you feel super motivated and inspired and you write out the perfect strategy, you do all your research, you get clear on what has to happen and by when, and you are ready to become this version of you to step into that goal, to step into that identity. And then when it comes time to actually execute, something shifts. You start to suddenly feel foggy, a little bit hazy, a little bit disconnected from the reason why you wanted to do this in the first place. Maybe your body starts to feel kind of heavy and lethargic and you're like, well, I'm not feeling great, so today's not the best day to start. I better wait till tomorrow or next week when the weather is better, when I'm clearer. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research. Maybe actually I'm not sure that this is what I want to do. And we start talking ourselves out of even taking action, taking the first step towards that thing that we wanted. Familiar? If so, welcome to the club. It's a very human response to creating change because you're not just creating behavior change, you're creating identity change. And identity change feels threatening to our sense of self, to our brain and bodies that have come to learn who we are and how we relate to the world in this very narrow window of what we've learned to feel and experience and tolerate on a day-to-day basis. And your new goal, that thing that you want, whether it's showing up more on social media, starting a business, having a loving relationship, putting yourself out there in the world, being more visible, having a goal with your body, losing weight, building muscle, whatever it is, it requires a different version of you than the version you have come to know and the version that your brain has become familiar with. And that is an uphill battle to fight. There's going to be resistance anytime you are creating an identity change. And it has to be an identity change in order for it to stick. You can't just do the habit, take the action, and assume that that's enough if you've got all these underlying unconscious beliefs that contradict the version of you who has the thing. So that resistance, that fogginess, that heaviness that you're feeling when you go to take action, those are the protective parts of you saying, actually, I don't know if this feels safe. Actually, I don't know if we're prepared enough yet. I don't want to fail. I don't want to deal with the discomfort of what comes on the other side of getting it wrong, or the discomfort of what comes on the other side of getting it right and having to take on all that extra visibility, responsibility, pressure, whatever else comes with having the thing that you want. Because, by the way, having more of the good things in life will also require a capacity to tolerate more discomfort. You want a loving relationship, you're going to have to tolerate more intimacy and vulnerability and conflict. You want a bigger business and more money? Great. You're going to have to learn to tolerate other people not understanding your decisions, more responsibility for money and employees and whatever comes along with the business that you're deciding to run. None of those are inherently bad, but we have to train our nervous system's capacity to hold all of that in order to even feel capable of being the person who can take the action to go after the thing. So how do we do that? Sounds like a big task, right? I want to break it down and make it feel a little bit more accessible for you right here and now, because we expand our nervous system's capacity and we train our identity by starting with the body and starting with what is. So rather than resisting that heavy, foggy feeling that's coming up for you, rather than shaming yourself for it or blaming yourself or saying like, here I go again, procrastinating, self-sabotaging, or rather than giving into it and letting that voice lead, we're going to find a middle ground where we honor what your body's showing you without letting that part be in the driver's seat. So we're going to do a little guided practice together. Okay, so I want you to find your way to a comfortable position, probably laying down. Like if you're feeling heavy, if you're feeling that kind of downward energy, follow that for the moment. Let your body fully relax. Let yourself feel as heavy as possible. If you want to find a comfortable seated position, maybe with your back up against your bed or a wall, somewhere that you feel really supported, go ahead and do that. Make your way into whatever shape feels like the sensation that's coming up for you right now, feels like the fogginess, feels like the heaviness, and allow it to take up more space. Okay, so let's start by just taking a few deep breaths in whatever shape you've chosen. Maybe you close your eyes, maybe you even let your eyelids feel really heavy. Maybe you let the muscles of your face start to become really heavy. And you take a breath in through your nose. And you sigh it out with an exhale, even letting that be heavy. Continuing to breathe and just see what you can notice in your body. Does that heaviness feel like a weight on your chest or on your shoulders, almost like somebody's sitting there putting pressure on top of you? Does the heaviness feel like a pit in your stomach, like an ache or a worry of what might go wrong? Does it feel like tightness in your throat? Like, I want to share, I want to speak out, I want to say something, do something different, but I just can't. This part is locking me in place. Maybe the heaviness feels like it's all concentrated in your head. Maybe there's this foggy, swirly, heavy, dense energy up there that you can't seem to get rid of, that makes it so hard to concentrate on the task at hand. Let's see if we can make space for whatever the sensation is. Whatever it is for you, whatever you notice, whatever part of your body feels that heaviness or the haziness, the lack of clarity, see if you can be with that sensation and breathe just a little bit of space around it. So almost imagining like it's going from all this pressure and this resistance because naturally part of you doesn't want this feeling to be there. And instead, I want you to imagine you can use your breath to breathe a little bit of a bubble of space around this sensation, around your body, around your head. Just so there's like an inch or so, maybe even a millimeter or two of breathing room. Feeling this part of you that has the sensation of heaviness or fogginess beginning to expand and contract as you breathe in and breathe out. And see if you can spend a moment just getting curious about what this part of you is actually feeling. Is there a fear of what might happen if you take the action and get it wrong? A fear that you could give it your all, go after this goal, and still fail? Maybe there's a fear or resistance around the version of you that you'd have to become in order to have that goal, the responsibility you'd have to hold, the judgment you might receive from others. The fear of not knowing whether you can trust yourself to hold it if it all goes right, if everything works out and it works, it happens, you get the goal, you get the thing. Is there maybe a fear that you don't know how to hold on to it and you'll just self-sabotage and then you'll feel shame? Coming back to that breathing room, creating space around this sensation in your body, seeing what emotions are coming up, what this part of you wants you to know. This resistance is here because it cares about you, not because it wants you to fail, but because it wants you to be safe, to be loved, to be accepted. Can you maybe even find a sense of compassion, appreciation for this part of you that has been working so hard to protect you and keep you safe from perceived danger? And whatever it is you acknowledge, whatever fear you sense underneath the surface, I want you to see if you can breathe some space around that too. Imagining breathing yourself bigger than that fear and saying to yourself, I acknowledge that that feels scary. And even if that happens, I can handle it. Even if I make a mistake, even if I fail, even if people judge me or misunderstand me or reject me, even if I get everything I want and I'm still figuring it out along the way, I can handle whatever comes. Breathing yourself bigger and saying, I trust myself to figure it out as I go. I don't have to have the entire thing mapped out. I just have to trust myself to handle the next step, and then the next one after that. I want you to bring a hand to the part of your body that you feel the most sensation. If there's heaviness in your chest or your belly, your throat, your face, bring a hand to that part of your body and spend a few moments intentionally sending your breath and your awareness to this part of you. You might gently rub that part of your body or use your fingers to tap that part of your body, moving the energy, waking it up. Breathing in as you expand your capacity to feel more of this discomfort, to know that it's okay to stay. It's okay to feel the heaviness of uncertainty and to take action anyway. It's okay to fear failure and take action anyway. The more that you expand your capacity to feel the good and the bad, the discomfort and the joy and the wins, the safer your system will feel to go after what it is that you want. So take 3 more of your slowest, deepest breaths, sending some energy into whatever part of your body is holding that tension. Saying to yourself, it's okay that this feeling is here. I don't need it to go away in order for me to show up for myself and to choose to pursue my goals and dreams. All I need is for this part to no longer be in the driver's seat of my life. And that choice is up to me. One last deep breath in, filling your whole body with this expansive breath, feeling like you're actually stretching and expanding your capacity to feel more, to hold more, to trust yourself more. And then exhale with a sigh or sound, let it go. And when you feel ready, slowly blinking your eyes back open, letting them rest on something in your space, something that feels familiar, comforting, grounding. And from here, all you need to do is take one small action step towards the identity and the version of your life that you know is possible for you. You wouldn't be here doing this practice, watching this video, if you didn't know somewhere in your core that it's possible for you to live that version of your life rather than the version that you've been conditioned into. And every time you feel overwhelmed or scared or stuck or frozen, come back into your body, come back to this practice, bookmark it for later so that you can create more and more space to feel, so that the discomfort of taking risk, of taking action, doesn't throw you off course anymore. The more consistently you practice that, the more your brain and body learn that, oh, this is an okay thing to do. This is safe, and I can trust myself to move step by step into the unknown, trusting that what is meant for me will show up the more I choose my authenticity over my fear. If this landed with you and you are curious to dive deeper into identity work on a somatic and subconscious level, reprogramming our brain and body to live our favorite self, to live the version of our life that we know is possible for us, I have some starting points for you. If you first just need to identify what's in the gap between where I am and what I want, I've got a guide for you called Closing the Gap that includes tons of really helpful, relevant journaling exercises and guided practices to help you expand your emotional capacity to regulate your nervous system to hold more of what you want. It's an incredible guide that will take you through transformative practices in just 7 days. That's linked below. If you want to go way deeper and reclaim your ability to fully feel and be in your body, to have boundaries, to have desire, to have pleasure, to have goals, to have everything that you need to be an empowered, sovereign individual, then my Core Self course is for you. It is a library of resources on an emotional processing level, a somatic and nervous system level, and an identity-based level to help you figure out who your core self is and how to support those younger, more tender parts of you that hold the fear and the protective mechanisms and the coping strategies so that they don't hold you back, so that they're not in the driver's seat anymore, and that you can integrate them back into your core self. Both of those are linked below. If you're interested in private mentorship, I offer a limited number of one-on-one spots. And I also have women's retreats that I host, usually 1 to 2 times throughout the year. You can find all of that linked below. Make sure you subscribe so that you're in the loop about all future videos, and you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and get on my email list for all the updates.